Welcome back, everyone. Pal Ponder on Weather here. We've got multiple disturbances that'll bring rounds of severe storms over the next several days. And then I think by Friday, we'll lower the severe chance and increase the heavy rainfall and flooding probabilities. So let's walk you through the next setup going forward. And you can actually see and we put this in motion. We've got multiple disturbances that are coming across. We had a little system down here in Texas this morning. That was a mesoscale convective vortex that went across portions of Dallas. There's also another low pressure center down here in South Texas that has a lot of spin associated with it as well. And that's going to be leaving some heavier rainfall. There's another spoke of energy up here too in portions of Oregon, back here into Idaho, through portions of Montana. And then there's another area of instability that's actually diving in from portions of California. That'll be impacting Southern California and moving across portions of Nevada. And then there's another area disturbance that came through portions of Iowa and then Illinois. And that is going to be diving southeast, leaving some severe storms later on this afternoon. So here's the latest outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. In fact, they do have that area highlighted with a slight risk for severe storms. Heavier rainfall and large hailstones fell yesterday into portions of Iowa. That has since moved out of that region. Now it's going to be impacting portions of Missouri, back here into southern Illinois, as well as into Indiana, portions of Kentucky, with this system that'll be diving down from the northwest to the southeast. And there's that other pocket of energy down here in South Texas. That'll bring some unstable conditions for them. But going into portions for tomorrow, now we're looking at different areas of disturbances that'll be coming across. There's another pocket of energy that'll be coming out of that area in Kentucky. Now that system will be over portions of the Carolinas with some unstable atmosphere, and that'll bring some heavier rains and some larger hail associated with with this activity. And then you have the dry line getting active out here into far west Texas, western Oklahoma, and portions of Kansas. Those dive from the northwest to the southeast off the northwest flow. So let's take a look at the setup going forward, and we can kind of put this in motion. We see this activity that's coming out of Illinois. That'll swing across portions of Kentucky, dive down and kind of phase itself out, while that other disturbance down here in South Texas will bring a round of severe storms and heavier rainfall for portions of southern Texas. Then we have that other areas of instability further north that even has some snow in the higher elevations up here into portions of Oregon. That'll swing through Idaho into Montana. And then, yes, we have that other area disturbance that's going to be swinging off the coast of the West Coast. That'll push inland with some light rain showers for portions of California. That's over just the next 48 hours. So let's take a look beyond that. So if we add in about 2 more days, let's take a look at these little disturbances. This is the month of May. We've got these subtle disturbances in the atmosphere that'll be moving across, bringing spokes of energy, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So you have this southern branch here, down here into portions of South Texas. You can see the little spin here. That'll swing up into Tuesday, Wednesday, into eastern Texas, eastern Oklahoma, eastern portions of Kansas, through Arkansas, while we have this other pocket of energy that'll bring some more unstable conditions for portions of the Four Corners regions, but also bring, I think, another round of severe storms, especially as we head into your Thursday time frame for up here in portions of Kansas. So let's take a look at that setup. So here's the setup for Wednesday as the dry line continues to remain active in far west Texas, western Oklahoma, western Kansas. There's the unstable air coming off the northwest flow. As they dive southeast, they will start to intensify in the heat of the afternoon. So that's why they do have that slight and marginal risk in play down here into these regions. And these are the drought-stricken regions. We talked about this. I think these setups, as we got deeper into in the spring months, they were going to be building much further west. And that's exactly what's happening. These areas are in a desperate drought, and they're seeing heavier rainfall associated with these. Unfortunately, it does come in the form of severe weather. But that is definitely slowly going to be eating away the drought. And then even going into Thursday, there is that slight risk with that lift mechanism right off to its west. So that puts this area into play again off the northwest flow. So this is going to be pretty prevalent over the next couple of days with these systems really blowing up in the heat of the afternoon, diving from the northwest down to the southeast. They could be some larger hail producers, definitely some gusty winds and some heavier rainfall associated with this activity. So if we move the clock here and walk you through time, we can see these subtle disturbances kind of move through the atmosphere. So we have that southern branch, right? So going into South Texas today, up into tomorrow, that pushes off into eastern Texas, eastern Oklahoma. That swings up through Wednesday and portions of Arkansas into Missouri. And then we have that other disturbance coming in from the west. That'll provide the lift mechanism that'll activate, that trigger the dry line out here in West Texas, western Oklahoma, western Kansas. And then we have that activity out here in portions of Iowa into Illinois as well. That'll be diving down to the southeast. That'll eventually impact portions of the Carolinas. So you can see we have multiple disturbance that are going to be impacting over the next couple of days. But it's really not until, I think, Friday timeframe where things change. Here's the precipitable water index. So you can see over the next couple of days where the heaviest rains is right along where that vorticity is, right? So we have one right now that's setting up shop over portions of South Texas, say the Houston area. Could be looking at definitely some heavier rainfall with this mechanism, as well as into portions of South Texas. This is the precipitable water index. This is the amount of moisture content in the atmosphere that could wring out in these areas. And where you see the reds, that's upwards to 2 inches per hour rainfall rate. So that just kind of gives you an idea of the air mass that we're working with. And there's the setup as we go into late Tuesday, into Wednesday timeframe with that vorticity lifting further north. So that's going to be impacting portions of eastern Texas, eventually eastern Oklahoma, Arkansas, portions of Missouri, and eastern Kansas, with very heavy rain setting up. And it's really not until, I think, Thursday where things get a lot more active as far as very heavy rainfall on a more widespread basis. We'll have a ridge really start to build out here into our western regions, and that'll definitely open up the Gulf. And when the Gulf is open, it's got plenty of warm water to tap into. And again, these water content values are going to be in the 1.5 to 2 inch per hour range. And we could be looking at some very heavy rainfall. So I stopped the clock here as this is heading into your Friday night, heading into Saturday morning. We're going to be seeing an extreme amount of moisture coming in from the Gulf. And these areas will be probably inundated with flash flood watches by then. So if you got plans down here in Texas, man, it's just going to be really wet this week, especially in the second half of the week, especially that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday timeframe. Or really a good part of the southern plains. I think there's just a lot of moisture coming back in this atmosphere, and we could be looking at widespread flash flood watches, flood warnings, and it could be pretty soggy soils, especially as we get deeper into the weekend. So if we kind of move the needle on this and walk you through time, we can see these multiple disturbances that are going to be coming across for the next couple of days. We do have those severe weather chances that we have to be out on high alert for. But as we get into, say, Friday, I think the severe weather chances start to subside, and we'll start looking at more widespread heavier rainfall, especially into our central states. So the coastlines, they don't look ultimately dry, but they're definitely on the drier side. It's basically right in the middle of the country. The southern plains, the central plains, those areas are going to get hit the hardest with very heavy rainfall over the course of the week, and especially the second half of the week. So as things get going into your Thursday timeframe, as the northwest flow starts to wind down, and then we'll have more of a southerly flow coming off the Gulf of Mexico, I think that's when things really start to get activated, headed into your Friday timeframe, starting further south into South Texas. That'll bleed into Central Texas, going into North Texas, in all these regions into the central states, and headed into portions of Nebraska and portions of you know, South Dakota by then. But yeah, this whole area with these multiple disturbances and this lift mechanism with the ridge really starting to build over the Carolinas by then, headed into this weekend, that'll definitely create that south flow, and all these areas in Texas will be just inundated with very heavy rainfall as we get into the weekend. So I'm definitely expecting widespread flash flood watches to be issued down here in this region, and all this just surges northward in the coming days, and that'll bring the heavy rainfall extending into Oklahoma, into portions of Kansas. And then it's really not until next week, if we get beyond 7 days, it actually extends into portions of the southwest regions, and these areas down in New Mexico, down into Arizona. You start to get inundated with the heavier rainfall. But that's another 8, 9, 10 days away. But for the next 7 days, the heavier rainfall is really going to be extended over the middle part of the country. So we have these subtle vorticities that are going to be coming across, but the main lift mechanisms are going to be in the middle of the country. So we still have that severe threat over the next couple of days, but it's really until Friday time frame, I think it turns more into a heavier rain threat. And once we tap into this energy and stop the northwest flow, and it's more of a southerly flow, then there's nothing stopping this energy coming in from out of the Gulf of Mexico and just dump it inland. And some of these amounts can be pretty impressive. I mean, we're talking easily 2 to 4 inches widespread across North Texas. We're probably talking 4 to 6 inches across Central Texas, maybe even South Texas into the 8-inch range, even isolated amounts higher than that, and a good soaking Oklahoma. And then as you extend further north into Kansas, into Nebraska, portions of the Dakotas, getting into portions of Wyoming here, just very heavy rainfall. Lighter amounts as earlier on from the northwest flow with these systems down through the portions of the Ohio Valley. Eventually that'll bleed into portions of West Virginia. And then definitely lighter amounts as you extend off the northeast coast and along the east coast as well. So the main areas of instability are going to be in the middle of the country in the week ahead. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. I do like this video. Definitely hit the subscribe button and catch the next update while I protect you before and after the storm.